Welcome back to this traffic video series. In this particular set of videos, what I want to do is introduce you to what I call social media tools in respect of they're not directly a social media site, but they are a way for people to interact and to get information and ultimately get links back to your site. Some of them might have fallen out of favor with some people over the last 12 months, but I can tell you here and now they are still very strong sites that you can be using if you use them effectively. The emphasis on this whole course as you go through is the fact that you don't want to be focusing or putting all your eggs into one basket and expecting that to be the only way that you're going to drive traffic and it will be successful. By all means, test, test, test. You want to track everything and make sure that you're making the most of every link opportunity you get. But don't spread yourself so thin that there's no effort involved in each of the sites and therefore you don't actually end up getting really any traffic of note anyway. But what you don't want to do is just focus on one mean or one strain of traffic only, and then if that falls out of favor with Google or it just doesn't work for you and your particular niche, you'll give up and retire away thinking it's not worth it, when actual fact it potentially could be a good traffic stream for you at a later date. I'm going to show you an example of a site a little bit later that will put that point to proof for you. So first of all, I'm going to look at the Squidoo site. It's squidoo.com. Now, this was a very favorable site back in 2006, 2007, even to 2008. It was still going strong. And then with Google doing a few of its famous flaps and its farming method, it's dropped out of favor with some people saying and reporting that there's absolutely no traffic coming from this resource now at all. But what I found is it actually depends on the niche, it depends on the quality, it depends if you're using duplicate content or if you're just literally setting up a site of spam whereby your Squidoo lens is just literally nothing but advertising and no real content or help at all. Remember at the end of the day that Google's aim in life is to deliver the right content to the right people at the right time. So if someone types in a search phrase, the last thing they want to do is click on a site and see nothing else but ads and no content at all. Now, whilst this has worked favorably for AdSense marketers over the years, because that's exactly what they want you to do, is to click back off the site, therefore making money, the whole idea for you is to build a steady stream of traffic and keep bringing more and more people to your target sites. And to that effect, Google still will link certain lenses within Squidoo. And not only that, as I'll show you in a moment, it still values its content with quite a good healthy page rank of 7. So if you've got good quality content on Squidoo on a lens and you don't make it your only focus for traffic, but again, consider it as part of the whole picture. If Google sees that you've got different sites that all link back to you, and those sites have good page rank, good reputation and standing, and they have good quality links coming and pointing to you, at some point Google's going to sit up and take notice of your business and of your site, and that will help you in the organic search results. So don't write off Squidoo, don't write off sites like Hub Pages or even Blogger, because they do have their uses, and we're going to look at that now. So Squidoo, basic site, you set up something called a Squidoo lens, and again, I'm not here to train you on how to set up a Squidoo lens. There's plenty of sites that will do that. And in the resources section, I've even got a link into some information giving you a rough guide, quick guide, a few pages, a few lines of how to use Squidoo, and even Seth Godin's own free PDF, which is still readily available for you to access on the internet, that tells you about Squidoo. So the idea is that people can explore topics. You come to the front page here, and you'll see that Talk Like a Pirate Day on the day that we're in. It's been given Lens of the Day. There's a mustache on a stick, amazing Mario Bros birthday cakes, tortoiseshell cats. Well, this is quite interesting to know. It's quite a tight niche here. So you'll see, and again here, vintage VW cars and buses for sale. So people are using Squidoo still powerful as a tool for their niche business. If all you're doing is knocking out sites that say make thousands and thousands and millions of dollars by pushing this magic button, and you're promoting nothing but that on a Squidoo lens, chances are you're not going to rank very well inside of Squidoo. If you're giving good quality content, then you can expect to find some great followers inside of Squidoo. And ultimately, even if people aren't coming and finding Squidoo lenses through Google, if we look quickly at the Alexa ranking, you'll see that it's in still 208 in the global rankings, and it's still in the top 150 in the US. It has a good reputation in rankings, and if you look at its traffic rank, it's petered up and down around the same for the last 3 to 6 months. If we look at the reach, you can see that's still consistent. Page views are consistent. Page views per user. The bounce rates are actually quite good for a site like Squidoo. The time on the site people spend is averaging around 5.5 minutes. And if you look at this, 23% of people that come to Squidoo as an estimate still come via a search engine. So just because Google's dropped it perhaps in certain search terms, you may still find people going through Ask, through Bing, through Yahoo and other sites, and there are still times when lenses do appear in the Google rankings as well. So ultimately 23% of their traffic, and if they're in the top 131 sites, they're getting a lot of traffic. It's still a popular site. And if people are going through search engines, or if they're just using Squidoo anyway as their site of choice to search, if you've got the appropriate products or the appropriate niche markets, people will read your content and then they'll click the links, and that can drive it back to your main money sites. So don't discount Squidoo, give it some thought and appreciation and make yourself a lens. Don't spend all your days and times writing content on it, but don't just add spammy content for the hell of it either. Just make sure when you do add content, it's good value and worth reading for the niche you're targeting. And just to show you that, I've got a search here that I've just done now on Squidoo, and you'll see that its page rank is 7 out of 10. So even with it getting a bit of a slap lately, perhaps in some people's eyes telling you it's totally not worth having, with a page rank of 7, that would say that Google still values the content that can be found here. Something that's connected and very worthwhile you're getting involved in is called squidu.com, and it's a forum. It says here, Squidoo Ideas Forum run by Lens Masters for Lens Masters. It's not moderated in any way by Squidoo itself, but there's some really good content and tips and tools you can find in here, and also people sharing their experiences as well. It's a forum that if you start to add content to Squidoo, one to keep on your bookmarks and keep an eye on and just read through some of the content. So don't knock out and don't discount Squidoo. Make sure it's one of the sites you create a lens for and you use it as part of your traffic building program. So moving on in this group of actual traffic tools, the next one is blogger.com, sometimes known as blogspot.com, owned by Google, which means in itself it's still an entity that you want to be keeping familiar with. Now, at one time, if you did searches in Google, pretty much the top pages of organic results would include Blogger blogs, but then the spammers got hold of the fact that this is a good idea, so started churning out millions of blogs on Blogger, which Google have cleverly removed some of them, but there's still a few out there that still get ranked today. But they've mostly been weeded out, and it caused the situation to occur where Google stopped giving it so much popularity in its own results. However, they still count, and again, a bit like Squidoo, you don't want to discount it and assume that Blogger is no good to you at all and will not give you any traffic. I'm not going to hang around for too long if you know about writing a blog, and the great thing about Google is it does walk you through every process, and it also allows you to add AdSense directly into your Blogger blog if you want to monetize it later using the AdSense options. But one thing I want to point out is creating a Blogger blog is a good way to get traffic, but it's also a place where you actually want to follow Google's own official blog, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first one I'm going to show you is a post that came up early in 2000, and it was an update to Google social search, and you might have actually noticed this yourself, specifically if you have a Gmail account. But if you're actually searching inside of Google and you actually logged into your Gmail account, you might notice that in some of the search results when you type in a search, people and friends that you know have a little picture of themselves and some of their sites, contents, articles or whatever appearing on the page. Now the reason for this is Google started to incorporate what it classes as friends content in its social results, and where it used to place them at the bottom of the search, now it spaces them in between results, and that way when you're searching you might start to notice more and more that friends of your people that you talk to, their content appears in your search results. So again, think about this from a traffic point of view. If you start building a Gmail account and you start getting people signed up and email and allow them to join your email and send you emails and you reply to them, and you get to a stage as well where you've got friends, because don't forget Google has YouTube, it has partnerships with sites like Flickr through Yahoo. So you'll start to find those types of content will appear in search. So by you creating content again and you socializing with other people through the web, there's a good chance that social media will deliver you clicks and traffic through time and could even get you on the front page of Google Organic Search if your friends notice your information and they go ahead and click, and then of course they get to your site. I'm going to give you an example of this because throughout Google Buzz and Gmail account I'm connected to two people. One's called Bob Jenkins, you might have heard of him, Bob the teacher, and another person called Diane Corriette. I'm actually connected to them through my Gmail account as well. So if I type in list building, as you can see, the results are pretty high. Now, whilst their sites don't appear in the top searches organically, if I scroll down, you'll see that first of all, we have Bob here with list building. He's got a post that he's made about it on his blog. And here Diane has got one on her blog as well. So it shows you here that because these people have got content and Google says and classes them to be a friend, what it's saying is someone that you know has written content about this subject, and this would get perhaps earn them a click from me to go to the site. So it's a good way for you to build up and start having people on your list regularly seeing you popping up in searches and therefore coming through to your content. So as you can see, Google is certainly worth considering regards to its social search results and a search engine tool. If I take you to another part of their site, I just want to scroll down here and show you something. This is like the recent posts that they've had on their site. And if we come down through and we'll see a list about going back to school, a search insights lesson for back to school. Now the reason why I've told you to have a look for Google's official blog on Blogger is because here, for example, they're talking about children going back to school, and it's giving you some very good information about popular searches that are taking place, such as kids' shoes, kids' haircuts, healthy school lunches, first day of school, textbooks. And if we come down through here, they give us more information and talk about, because people needing to save now, they're looking as a big increase in people searching for printable coupons. It jumped 45% from the last period. Then there's bank account, open bank account for college students. This is a great way for you to just see trends. There's also one about the NFL as well. If we carry on reading through, we found some information about that as well. But the nice thing here is Google's blog will give you some information and tidbits occasionally that you can use for trends, which might help you when you're researching niches to then actually start creating content, knowing at what times of year and looking at Google Insights as well and finding out when and where certain subjects and that peak, and you can use that time to then drive traffic if you're in that niche and make the most of planning ahead and getting the best from Google. I'm going to talk a bit more about blogging later on because it is very important that it's one of the traffic streams that you focus on in quite a lot of detail. But just to cover this as part of what I call the social media tools, Blogger has a great site, but also WordPress.com. Now this isn't where you host your own actual blog, that's at wordpress.org, and that's the one I'll talk about later. But WordPress.com is where they host your blog for you. But again, it has a lot of people searching actually directly on this site every single day. It gets a lot of search, a lot of traffic, and people can find you through these types of blogs. So don't discount using WordPress.com. If you don't want to use Blogger, you could perhaps use WordPress or even combine the two. And again, this isn't about being your main site. This is about driving traffic to your money site or to the site where you want to get your traffic to ultimately. So use sites like this as part of your social media tool network and combine it with Squidoo, combine it with Blogger. And also the next one I'm going to show you very quickly is called Hub Pages. Once again, this is a site that started to be neglected and people have written it off as being no good for getting traffic. But again, if you actually use it correctly and in the right way, Hub Pages can still generate you income directly from the site, but it can also provide good traffic to a central site. So again, it's just a case of what I'm trying to say to you here and get across at all points through this course is that you use different traffic methods to drive traffic to your main site. Don't just have a situation where you're only focusing on one method and one route alone. For example, to give you an idea, if you actually come to Hub Pages site, you'll see that there's actually success stories of people that make money using Hub Pages, and you can see different people. Look, stay-at-home mum earns 1/3 of the household income passively through Hub Pages. Work at home mum enjoys the flexibility of writing. College and continues to earn while in grad school. This person here is saying they earn $1,200 a month just through hub pages alone. So it shows you can earn money, but we're trying to say that you can use it for traffic as well. And to give you an example of the fact that people do use it for traffic, I don't use hub pages all the time, but I've been diagnosed a while back now as a celiac, and so I have to have gluten-free. And one of the things I did when I was looking for information and for recipes wasn't just to go to Google alone. I actually came to sites like hub pages and typed in just gluten-free and started reading some of the content that people have, and found some very good articles in the end of some good recipes that I've actually gone on to make since then. So it shows you that people do use sites like this to search for information they want. So if you think about it, if this was, say for example, you were looking for a bread maker, you click the site and the hub and you started reading it. If this person has done their hub cleverly, they'll have content, and as you can see here, they're linking out to a Squidoo lens. They're cross-promoting between the two. They get revenue share on here anyway, but they also link to other sites. Here they're linking to a direct affiliate product where they can make money directly, but this could be just linking back to a more in-depth detail on a blog that they have, and then starting to drive traffic from here back to their blog and giving themselves links. So there's different ways you could use these sites to get you that traffic. And if you're looking at having people that are searching for niches, and that's what you need to focus on, don't just think about the money, just think about putting yourself, and take some time out when you're looking and you're searching yourself for content. Do you only ever just search on Google, or do you use other sites as well? Do you read information on forums? Do you end up clicking people's signature files? Do you end up looking at Twitter and you happen to see something that's relevant to you, so you click it? Do you take part in Facebook and you see something relevant and you click that? You're not just the only person that does that. If people are looking specifically for information and help to solve a problem, then they're going to be searching, and if they're finding the information that you've put up there across the web, and the more content you have that's giving you good quality content and linking back to your sites, the more likelihood you're going to pick up that traffic from people, and they're going to come to your site that you're trying to drive them to. And just finally, in this tools section, one site I want to make you aware of is called blogglue.com. And it says here, build your own blog distribution network. Just publish your blog posts and we'll distribute your content. It's actually becoming more and more exposure. It's getting and building momentum as it's going through. And a lot of people are starting to find that by connecting with other blogs, they actually are starting to see and get more traffic to their blog in their own network. So again, if you're going to set yourself up with a blog and you're going to be creating content, get yourself a free account at BlogGlue, spend some time going through and connecting to other networks, and if you're following your stats in cPanel, you will see that over time you start to pick off some nice traffic through other partner sites within the network that want to link with you and happy to publish and promote your content. So this is a good tool to incorporate into that whole social media tool section. I just want to wrap up this actual section where we're talking about social media tools just by covering something about duplicate content and aged content. Now, people will tell you that quite often if you have duplicate content, then you get slapped for it and you don't get any recognition for that content, and it won't help you. Now, this is just actually a site that was a template site I purchased many years ago, and I put it on one of my own sites. And the article title that we have here, Reduce the Size of Your Tummy, gets a few thousand views per month, and it's not the only version of this article that's available on the web. There are other sites that carry the same article, and it does make me income through AdSense getting clicks. Now, I'm not going to go into full detail about this particular niche and setting up, but it also gets me traffic to other sites and other content as well because of the way it's networked. Now, I did this many years ago. I haven't touched this site at all in the last few years. It's just literally sitting there on a domain that's now an aged domain for me. It's been there for a while. It has all sorts of content on it. A lot of it doesn't even make any sense. It's just there. But every single day it gets views and it gets clicks. And that's the thing I want to share with you, that just because you have duplicate PLR content sitting on your hard drive, don't assume that you can't use any of it, because you'll get slapped for that, because you won't. If you've got duplicate content and it's actually makes sense and it's integral and it's part of what you're trying to say, Google doesn't hit you hard for it. If you just put a load of spammy content on the site and then just put in a few PLO articles that everybody else has got, yes, you might find your site being labeled as worthless and you're not getting any traffic from it. But if you integrate good quality PLR content that gives people information they're looking for, and you have your own content connected to that and linking into the right direction, you have it as part of your traffic regime, not the whole way, then it's going to benefit you over time. It's going to count, as I said at the beginning, it's going to count towards your link juice, if you want to call it that, and it's going to reward you with traffic back to your site. But again, this isn't the only method that you adopt. You don't just want to set up one site with some information and just leave it and do nothing else ever. You want to combine it with other ways of getting traffic, and then you will see, over time, you will see quality traffic coming to your sites that you're trying to aim at. So just something I wanted to keep in the back of your mind as you carry on going through the course.